Facebook and Amazon are two dream companies for most of the young people to work with, right? And our majority users are people who are in college or just out of college, early in their careers. So what are those couple of points that you would suggest them to be very considerate about to be able to crack a career like yours?
Got it. And I think again, and then apologies, I tend to go back to generalizing things. I would say I think everybody would have their own career plan, and they would want to maybe have run it in their own way, and then they'll have to make choices as per their own goals. But I think if the question is more around if somebody has decided moving on into Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, so we call it FANG in this fraternity. So if you want to move to this FANG and then you believe at this point in time this is the right career choice for you, then I think it's more about preparation and then what you need to do. Preparation, again, it depends upon level and profile you are in. I think specifically you are more asking about people who are graduating or very new in their career, who
Right.
might be willing to move into a SD career in one of these companies. So I think what's more important when you're trying to prepare for any company for that matter is to do a homework on what's expected and how their interview process goes, and it varies even from company to company within fan group. Like Microsoft is a little different, Facebook is again a little different, Amazon is different, Google is again a little different. Everyone focuses on different things, but I would say 80% of the code is still same, which is a lot of focus is on your coding skills, problem solving skills, data structure skills. So there's a good amount of focus there. If you are into like 2+ years of career, there is a focus on design elements as well, your system design questions, and there is an element on your behavioral aspects as well. When I say behavioral, it's more about does that aligns with company's culture, because each of the company would have their own different culture and principles, and that's where they see that whether the culture that we have aligns with your behaviors or not, so that you are in the same tangential direction and then not pulling apart. So those are the things. So coming back to the question around preparing for Amazon or preparing for Facebook, if you have to focus a lot on your coding, there are ample opportunities out there, different your online websites which will help you prepare those, and there are websites which will have interview sets for these, and you can go to those. I won't mention the names. People would Google it and find it, because don't want to look at a paid interview. But I think if you Google it, Amazon question sets and maybe Facebook question sets, you're going to get a lot of websites, and they will give you even the option where you can write code and then see how it goes. So I think key elements is you have to practice on your thought process. What is more important? A lot of time what we end up doing is we end up practicing on the questions rather than practicing to improve our thought process. So you should focus, when you're focusing on problem solving and coding and improving on that, you should see how you're structuring your thought process. What do you do when you look at a question first, right? What is the next step that you do? What is the third step that you do? That means the first approach is understanding what the problem is, right? The second approach is looking at if there are any assumptions, or you want to make sure that if there is any ambiguity in the problem, you resolve those problems and then come to a well-defined problem statement you want to tackle. The third is you break down the problem, where you don't want to work on a very high abstract problem. You break it down into smaller pieces and then attack each of those pieces. So you are trying to improve on the structured thought process rather than working a lot on practicing more questions, because you don't want to go on a luck that, hey, I practiced 110 questions, now the luck plays role that one of those 110 comes in. Rather, what you want to do is you have practiced a diverse set of questions which gave you sufficient opportunity to grow in all of these aspects. And I think we can have a different session at length to discuss about all of these things. But I think the key
Absolutely.
idea that I would give is practice, and practice to improve your thought process and problem solving skills, and then apply the tools available and frameworks available to solve those problems, because you don't want to rebuild. Eventually, data structure is about, if you don't know a tree, if you are good at problem solving, you will build a tree. You don't know a hash map, if you're good at problem solving, you will build a hash map. Once you know these frameworks available, then it is easier for you to reuse them and come up with a quick solution, and you don't have to go through, and hence it becomes possible for you to solve a problem in 40 seconds. Otherwise you would have taken multi weeks to build a tree and then come to that conclusion and evolve. So I think what I would recommend is work more on thought process, problem solving skill sets, and use data structures, constructs, frameworks as enablers for you to solve quickly, rather than focusing that that's the only thing you need to prepare on, because the gist that you're preparing on is your thought process and improving on it.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Ayush. That was a very, I would say, a very qualitative answer. So, thank you so much for your input.